Okay, so I think I might be live. Not sure. I'm going to check that right now. Okay, let's see. Okay, so today I'm going to do early morning. So I'm going to do a little bit of refactoring in this. See if I can, because right now the application looks a little bit messy, and as you work in it, it becomes a little hard to get some of the stuff um correct. So and then it becomes a little bit hard to add new content or new features. So I'm gonna do a little bit of refactoring. It's a little bit of a mess right now. Okay, so this utility function right here, I think I'm going to store this utility function inside inside the utility um, file that I have here. Easier to find or to access. So if I need some sort of if I need this functionality later on, it's I can find it in one place, and I'm going to export this so that I can so that I can have access through the import process on the other on every other file. All right, so right now it doesn't exist. We can do the import, but also I do not want to have this here, and I do think that that this is not correct. This here, it's a little bit like we shouldn't have this logic in here. It made no sense to have it in here. It made no sense that um that this logic updates just to update this, because I can just place this inside here, inside this div, and that would be the same thing. But then I want to keep this as simple as possible. So in order for me to actually do that, I definitely want to remove this out of here, place it somewhere else, and probably somewhere else, some place that makes sense. Um, and it's not on the way. It's not in the way. So, well, how do I do that? How do I cheat? How do I make something like this be more centralized? Well, we have something. We have a reducer. It's called DB reducer, which accounts for our entire database, our entire storage system on the UI. And this is basically a place where we can process all the data. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new, first of all, let me make sure that this is indented properly. And I'm going to create a new case here. In this case, it's going to be to update. Update. Let's see. Well, it's one for update current budget, and the other one to update the total balance. So I'm going to say update total balance. But the only thing is that I want to keep the same syntax that I have for the other one, so I'm going to make everything capital. So update, and I might place an underscore here, and then it's total balance. And this is remove the rest. All right, so towards the end, we're going to put a semicolon, and we will also now make sure that we are returning the default, which is an object that includes the state. Yeah, let's return the state. Well, we copy the state by putting these 3 dots in there, and here we also will update one property of the state, which is basically the total balance property. And again, I already copied it, so I'm just going to paste it in here, and then we're going to update it with the new value, and this is where this migration makes sense. So if we grab this and put it inside the reducer here, the reducer, we can now say instead of doing it this way, we can now just create like a local property. We'll probably call it maybe TB total balance, and we made this constant value, so that because we're not going to override this value. This value is what it is, and now it looks a little bit. It's in the right place. No, there you go. So the only thing is that it doesn't really find this function, and it will be nice to import the utilities file here. So we can do that by just typing import. What do we want for the utility? Because we don't really want to have the entire all the functionality from the file here when we only need one thing, and right now we only need something. That's what we need from there, and we're going to say from where, and it's going to be from, let's see, utility is on a different folder. If we're going to use that to go one level up, and then we can select the store folder. Then we can select, I'm sorry, it's not store, it's the utility folder. And then we can select utilities. and put us in a column just to complete a sentence or complete the line of code. So right now, so right now we have the function here. It's not giving us the error message, and now it is a little bit better. So in order for us to actually access this block of code, we need to code something we need to access this from our server. And one of the things that the context is already giving us is a dispatch to dispatch something, a function. So where do we place this? Do we place it here so that we can update that? Well, we can. Well, we will be calling the dispatch function so many times. I don't even know if this is going to break or not, but I'm going to do it just to see what the consequences. See, we do it from here, and basically what we do, we pass an object in here, and the object has a type, and it has a type of update to balance, which is basically the case that we just created, and the type is the case, and it takes some value to update, right? Right now we don't really need. Let me see. Do we need it? Right now we don't really need it because it's going to calculate everything. But that's a problem. It's going to calculate everything. It's going to go through all of this, all of the available funds, every time it renders this over here. So it's taking the state that is coming in, and it's going to re-render and recalculate and go through each one of these items from here, which is okay. I think for now I'll leave it like that, and then later on I think I'm going to move this to I'm gonna call this from a different place. For example, it should be better that that instead of thinking about the rendering process, you think about when we're actually updating one of the accounts. That's when it should be updated as well. Not when you render. But we'll do that. We'll refactor that in another time. Right now, what I want to do is just get this out of this place, and we can copy this. It's pretty much the same thing. How do you copy this? There you go. That was easy. Okay, so all we gotta do is replace this piece of code from here. We also need to delete all the stuff from here, and this is actually current budget, so I think I'm just gonna put CT in here. That should be fine. And let me see. Oh, because it has the same name as this. So, and also we need to make sure that we update the name. It's called current budget. Okay, so we got the CT current budget. This one over here as well. So we're gonna say update that. Should be, yeah, I think it should be update. It's debating with whether it should be update or something else, or maybe calculate or something like that. Current budget. Okay, so yeah, update current budget, all that stuff. So right now we need to remove this other line that we have here, and we're gonna do the same thing gotta call the dispatch again, and we're gonna make sure that we copy the same name and we place it here. Okay, so right now we have two short lines here, so this looks better because if I need to add something else, I can easily get that here. Okay, so that's great. So let's see if our application is still broken. It is. Is it maximum update that exceeded? This can happen when a component repeatedly calls a state inside. Okay, so yeah, so I think it is the same thing that I was thinking, that it was calling the state so many times because it is called when this is rendered. Why don't we just call this whenever we do the update? And then we also do it on, we also do this at the initialization of plug. So let's do that. So let's not call this within the render. That's a really bad idea. All right, so let's find the function that is updating. Function that will update will be let's say it is the template. We have balance change, update balance. Here it is. This is what it's updating it function. Let me see. But this is not even the function that is updating. It's on the parent, which is font view. There you go. You got the dispatch here, all that stuff. Doing it through the connection. So I'm wondering, should I actually make part of this, or should we use a context here? Interesting. What would be the consequence of like making this change? I'm gonna put it here. Let's see what happens. So we have to do this page in here. And we're going to say dispatch update total balance. This is super long, but I just want to be descriptive here a little bit. And this is basically going to execute this function right here. Remove this. Then again, write dispatch update budget. Again, super long, but for right now it's fine. Okay, so we just gotta call this from the same place I'm calling this, and yeah, the delete function is called from somewhere else, I think. I might be passing that down, or I might not even be calling that from here. I might be dispatching that from a different place. All right, so let's see. I think that we can just put it in here, and we are already passing that type. We don't need a payload to send, not at all. And this is coming on prop here, props. And okay, so we have, let's see what happens here. So right now this thing will only update if I enter a value. Let me see if, yeah, so it's 0 right now, but if I enter something here and say 12 and I update, okay, it's not updated. And I redo this, Let me see. Dispatch. Type funds. Alright, so let's figure it out if we are actually hitting this. Let's do that. And then now it's going to refresh. We're going to load our developer tool on Chrome. Then we're going to hit update. And well, it looks like you stopped somewhere. That's not what we wanted to stop. We went to this update. So we're going to the other one. And then we came here. So the state might not be correct. Well, it is actually. And this is total balance. Let me see. Okay, I see. Okay, I see what happened. So, I think the best way to do this will be to actually just say, okay, so the state that I'm changing is this, and I need to change. Go back to the data. This is the object that I need to access. And I wondered if I can just do that from the background. So let me see. This will be a nice experiment to do. Let's say that, okay, cool. This is the actual property, but it's this. See, okay, see, so that's not, they definitely do not support, I think they do support that. Let me see. What if I place this sign an object like this? That is supported. No, it's not supported. Okay, so I'll just make sure that I type in state here, and then paste this bar, copy the budget, paste it in here. And now that should do it. Just change it right here. The same thing goes for the other one. So what I'll do is I'll just copy this to state. So basically, I need to modify an object that is inside the state. So I can't really do it the other way that I was doing it, which is basically the common way of doing it. And I'm also handling this thing wrong because I am mixing things. I'm supposed to have, well, this is part of the balance, to be honest, so that's fine. Well, one is not. This is part of the to-do list, and this is part of the other, the balance, available balance to-do list, and balance list. So it's two different things in my opinion, but I'll make that change for another time. All right, so right now, state, go. Let's go to let's go from here. We should close this, and let's see what happens. So one here. See, now you can see that when we update this, that will update. So if I put a 10, so let's see, it updates 72, and if I put a 1, it should give me a 61, I think. 1,563 actually. Well, definitely if I put a minus, it's not going to subtract. Well, actually, it is. Interesting. So this solves a lot of problems for me. So let's say plus 10. Let's say plus 100. 166. But it's funny because it's putting 100 here, and that's not what it should be. And then when you don't have a value, we need to handle that. So we need to have a default value of 0, like this. Okay, so 120. It's gonna add 120. It's not gonna add. It's gonna change the value. Say 120. It's gonna give me that. If I say minus 1,000, it's gonna put it here. Minus 1,000. Subtract it from balance. It is wrong though because it's doing some different crazy stuff. And it shouldn't be. But anyhow, do you see? It's now. Like if you refresh this site, which is gonna go back to normal, let me say, you know what? Let's put 352 here. It should update this to the correct amount. But if I subtract, it should subtract from this value, and then this value should reflect whatever is there. So this is wrong. Because if I'm doing this, I'm saying, okay, so remove 352, update this value to negative that, and if I update this value to negative that, it's kind of right in a way because, well, it's not right because what it did is it subtracted that. See 19. We say 0. Difference, then I say 354 and update that. 1916 and 19, but if we substitute this by -12, it should be the $300, which is going to give it a 1616. Then the $54, which is going to bring it to what? 7. So I say 354 minus 354. We brought it down to this. If I say 0 here, 62. Alright, the calculation is not right. But there's some stuff here not right. I have to fix. Okay, so but this is working when we do the update, but it's not working when we load the page because we don't have an initial value set up. Like we only do it when we do the update, and the same thing should happen when we do the remove. We should be making sure that we recalculate this. And one way of doing this is that instead of actually placing those things, we should be able to actually call in functions from within here so that we don't have to rely on dispatching that from our components. And it should be something that should happen automatically. So I'm gonna do the initial, well, I'm gonna leave the initial value for later. Right now I'm going to do a few do some more of refactoring. So this state right here, I mean this line of code, let me see if I can extract it in scope constant. Okay, so we can do something like a function, place this little thing into a function, and we can say this, or we can call this the same thing, but instead of calling it with uppercase, we can call it as, actually we can leave it as uppercase like that, and we can put that in here. It could be too long, I don't really like that. I think I'm going to update current balance, current budget. Right? Like this is makes it a little bit better. Awesome. Okay. There you go. So, and we'll pass a state and we'll update that state. You will be returning the state that you shared. We'll be returning this. Which is basically, we can say new state. New state. State. So that, and there you go. So we'll just do this, and that should do it. So now this seems to be like more stuff, but now I can use this. I can just use this whenever I am updating. Whenever I'm making an update, you can do that. So you can pass a state, and instead of using the state right here, we can now use a new state. Also, hold on. I can code this right after everything happens. For example, I can call this here, passing the state. Let's see, what's this? Yeah. Okay, so after we process all the functionality from this update case, we can now call this one over here, and that's happening within the same function of update. We calling this. It's getting updated. We do the same thing for this one as well. Extract that, and we just say update total balance. Okay, it took forever to do it, but now it's reusable. We can reuse it here as well. The same thing. We can say state, and there you go. I think that should work. So, which means that this too becomes irrelevant. We don't really need it, because what we did is that instead of like creating its own cases and calling it from whenever we actually do the click to do the update, we actually embedding it where the update is happening, which is here. And now we have some just a little bit crazier now. So we can separate this thing a little bit so that we have the code, and then we have this. And probably ultimately we'll move this to a separate file so that we can keep this short and have all of this functionality somewhere else. But right now this looks good. Let me see. Yeah, I think also now that I did that, I can go back to the font view, and we have this. See these lines of code now, they are irrelevant because we don't really even have those. And this too is relevant because we don't even have to call it, so we don't really need to embed it into the function that does call the dispatch update fund. We can just put it inside where the logic to the update it's happening, which is the same place where the dispatch is actually this one. It's intended to go, because if you look, the type, it is type update, and the update is what's being applied here. Is what's being called here in this line, and then this is the block of code that is executing when that when it's called is made, and yeah, that's everything. I think. Okay, so let's see if we have any errors. There's no errors, so right now, whenever we actually do the update here, that should update as well. Update here, it should update as well. Alright, so one more thing, and it is the initial value, so that when the page loads, it loads correctly. And this is where I say that that we should be calling that we can put these two functions into a more into a separate file, so that we can import that file. We can actually use those functions, but right now I'm thinking about it. Should I place that? Naturally, I'm not going to do that now. I'm going to just we can make it so that we have some reducer, I guess, helpers. I just copy that just to keep the code relevant. Okay, so just like I did here with this, we're going to perform another one. Let's pull these two functions down here. Actually, no. We don't need to do it like this. Well, the formatting, yes. The formatting, yes. Alright, so let's keep the functions. Let's keep the functions. Then we're gonna have to import the utility up here. Just now this data stuff is not going to be gonna have some stuff up here. So what are we getting? We're getting some from actually let's go to up, go to the utilities, and bring the utilities. Now we have it, and this is showing that I haven't used it. So what do we do? For data collection, data collections, and we'll call it summary totals, and some of the totals has the summary total, total, and then let's do the total balance equals to, and then we call that function. The only thing is that we need to pass a state, which basically the state is the entire collection. That's what the state is, the collection. And then we do the same thing with the budget, the current budget, and gotta make sure that we're calling the correct. Yeah, and now that we look at it, this is ambiguous. It's the same exact thing. we can narrow this down to one function because the functionality is the same. The only thing is that, for example, I can say here in this function, give me two things. Send me the This, well, this is, I'm getting this from this. So all I have to say is send me a collection or something. Well, the names are different, so you know what how they were done. But yeah, but still, we can still do it. Some of the stuff can be done a little bit different. We can still narrow it down a little bit more. But right now, we get a budget in that, and that should work. Because right now, the initialization of this object um, it's happening. It's happening. Okay, so cool. All right, so that's done. Let's take a look at now. The side should have a value. We can refresh, and you see it has a value now when it starts. So I think that'll be it for right now. And I think I'll work on something else. I have a long time.